Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you the biggest heist in American history isn't happening in some bank vault, but right under your nose in Washington, D.C.? I'm talking about DOGE. The Department of Government Efficiency has uncovered a shocking truth that should infuriate every taxpayer in this country. The federal budget, a staggering $200 trillion honeypot, has been systematically looted for nearly a century with zero accountability. Even more shocking, just 7,000 politically connected NGOs are hoarding 90% of all taxpayer money meant for nonprofits. That's 300 billion annually flowing into a black hole of cronyism and corruption. And it gets worse. In San Antonio, DOGE exposed an NGO receiving $18 million monthly for an empty migrant shelter, an empty one. A contract that magically appeared after a Biden transition team member joined the organization. Now, if chronic pain rules your life, this hack could change everything. Standard turmeric barely helps, but a Connecticut pain specialist discovered a special extract 200 times more powerful than regular turmeric. Now, this remarkable compound attacks inflammation at its source, turning off pain like a light switch. Dr. Josh has spent over 20 years helping hundreds of thousands break free from constant suffering without expensive surgeries or dangerous medications. Now, I've experienced the difference myself. This isn't just any supplement. It's a revolutionary approach to pain-free living. And you can learn Dr. Josh's exact method at goldenrevive.com/NNN. It's linked down below. Start your journey towards lasting relief today. Okay, let's get into this topic here. This is from Media Lies. Oh, Tricky Dick Durbin claiming that Trump and Elon are barreling the federal government towards a constitutional crisis because of DOGE. I should tell you that we're joined with JR Majewski here in studio today. Real quick, we got to get this clip here from Tricky Dick. What are your thoughts on DOGE?
I love DOGE. I think they're exposing the corruption that we all know exists. And, I wish Vivek Ramaswamy was still more involved, but I'm thankful he's going to be my next governor in Ohio.
Yeah.
But I think Elon's doing a fantastic job. The people that he's employing, these young, fresh, techie-minded kids, are essentially revolutionizing the transparency of the government. And
I mean, okay, real quick, because Vivek was like right front and center. They were going to have a podcast. I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have all this information. But all of a sudden, like, Vivek just like bailed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happened there? Like, all of a sudden, like, I'm like,
well, I think he was looking at this from more of a constitutional revolution, or, kind of approach, where Elon Musk was more focused on, using technology to expose the corruption. Vivek was kind of focused on how can we pull these things back to be more compliant with the Constitution. Two different schools of thought. And I think the fastest way to the result, and they both recognize this, was Elon's approach. And I think Vivek has a calling. When I was in Chicago with Vivek campaigning for the president, he and I had both talked about him running for governor. And it just happened that, he turned down the opportunity to be the next senator to replace JD. And then,
he turned it down.
I believe he did.
I mean, was there actually talk of him?
Yeah. I mean, there was pressure from the president on our governor. I don't know if our governor would have.
Wait, there was pressure from Trump?
Sure. Yeah.
To be the senator?
Yeah, absolutely. Trump wanted Vivek. I mean, he actually posted on it about Truth Social that Vivek would make a great senator, and he would have. But
yeah,
I think Vivek has a higher calling, and I think the governor's position in Ohio would be very, very suiting for him.
Well, I mean, he was running for the executive branch, governor, executive branch. It's the same
Ohio
ballpark.
needs a different version of Trump. I mean, we're the seventh most corrupt state in the nation.
Wow.
We're an epicenter for human trafficking. Fundamentally, Ohio has turned to a red, plus 12 Trump state, but there's been pain along the way, and we have a legislature. I mean, we have a full control of our government, our governor, our Senate, and our Congress, and we still fight to get things done.
Well, we need to go to my state where we have Tricky Dick Durbin. My state has its own problems, guys. I'm from Illinois. I live in Illinois. And, I mean, it's basically a uniparty there. So let's see what this guy's talking about here.
Tomorrow night, members of Congress and their guests will gather on the floor of the House to hear the President on the status of our nation. This annual address traces its roots back to founding fathers, but I doubt that they would even recognize their beloved country today. With President Trump and Elon Musk,
He would know.
Yeah, of course they wouldn't recognize our country today. I mean, look how far we've fallen, right? Am I right by saying this?
Yeah.
How far have we fallen, JR?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, we
This
could
guy's
go.
a fossil.
Yeah, I mean, this guy. Anyway, okay, let's
he
keep
doesn't even know how
going.
to change his Wi-Fi password, let alone read.
acting unrestrained, we are barreling down a dangerous path to a constitutional crisis. In the Judiciary Committee, which you serve on, we had 3 witnesses last week, nominees to serve in important positions in the Department of Justice. The question that was asked of them was very basic. Would you advise a public official in the United States of America to follow a court order? Just that simple, to follow a court order. And they hemmed and they hawed and they said generally so, generally this. The most lucid statement was made by a Republican Senator, John Kennedy of Louisiana, who said the answer is yes. You either follow a court order or you resign your office. It is that basic. But if you listen to those 3 witnesses, there's a serious question whether that would happen. It's a question as to whether or not there is any check or balance on the executive branch if they will not live by the findings of a court. It troubles me. It continues to trouble me. And it's at the heart of our concern about the future of our Constitution.
Yeah, what does this guy know about the Constitution other than violating it? We got this from Scott Jennings, apparently going down the list of left-wing lies and talking points, and debunked all of them on, Dana Bash. Oh, poor Dana.
Versus, I think Donald Trump is doing an amazing job so far on the things that he ran on, immigration. The border is, just his taking office, the border is effectively shut down. The attitude change from the federal government effectively closed the border. Look at the people coming across now. Look at the encounters today versus what was going on with Biden. I think on March 4th, you're going to hear them talk a lot about the success on immigration. As it relates to Ukraine, look, Zelensky made a huge mistake on Friday. All he had to do was show up and sign this deal, and he just couldn't do it. And sometimes these guys, when they put on the military uniform, they have trouble taking it off. He needs to take off the military garb, put on the garb of diplomacy, and understand that he's got an honest new broker on the field who can actually help him end this war, maintain his sovereignty, maintain prosperity for the Ukrainians. And regarding Elon and the bureaucracy, if I just may respond to something you said about the bureaucracy, there seems to be, when Republicans are president, that this idea that the bureaucracy and the government should not be responsive to the political leadership of the executive branch. That is totally false. It has nothing to do with a loyalty test, but it does have to do with whether or not the unelected bureaucracy is responsive to the political oversight of the government. And Democrats right now do not seem to believe that the president should be able to be the president.
You should come to my town.
I think
You should come to my town. Maybe we should go to your castle where you hang out in your coffin. That guy looks like a vampire. I don't know who that was, but hey, Scott Jennings going to bat for all of us on CNN. And then we got this from Peter Navarro. Don't forget about the 3 Ds, deregulation, DOGE, and drill, baby, drill. Remember, Navarro served time for all of us, okay? He was not going to flip on Trump for anything. And there was nothing to flip on. They wanted him to lie. Anyway, let's keep going.
Our experience in the first term, Joe, was very clear. We did not have inflation. We had price stability. When we put the tariffs in on China, steel, aluminum, solar, dishwashers, and all of that, no inflation. And the reason why is a complex chain of macro things that begins with the fact that the exporting countries, which are dependent on our markets, absorb a large share of the tariffs. And then you have the supply chain effects moving around. As you know, Joe, when our trade deficit goes down, the dollar goes up, imports are cheaper, so that brings it down. And in the limit, and this is where President Trump wants to go, we have more and more investment here that raises productivity and real wages, and that mutes inflation as well. And don't forget the 3 Ds. We got deregulation, DOGE, and drill, baby, drill. That's the Trump strategy to bring down inflation dramatically. And anything that happens with tariffs, Joe, is second order small. So I don't see the president wavering on any of this, because he knows in order to get to a world in which America is strong and prosperous with real wages going up and factory jobs, this is the path that he's chosen. Our experience.
Sorry, we're muted. Go ahead.
I said, I think Peter Navarro's right. And fundamentally what it boils down to is we have a lot of problems across the nation, right? The open borders, the inflation, the economy. We can't solve any of those things if we can't turn the lights on. And
Yeah.
energy is the only issue that we have that transcends all of this, right? When it comes to our goods, when it comes to trade, everything runs on some form of energy. And Trump's proposition to drill is just a fast track way of reducing all of these issues and making them even more manageable.
Well, that's what we're hoping for to continue as the economy continues to react to President Trump. Let's continue here. Oh, what do we have? Oh, this is Steve Nye, the science guy, really, on CNN. Tom Elliott going ahead, and he's posting, to attack DOGE's budget balancing work, CNN invited the actor who pretends to be a scientist. Wow. Okay, I want to hear this.
More frequent and
for a disaster to happen. What concerns do you have on that front, given the valuable service that NOAA provides?
Oh, wow.
Well, the other thing, everybody, the climate is changing. You can say to yourself it's not, and you can take campaign financing from the fossil fuel industry, and you can pretend the climate's not changing and hurricanes aren't becoming more frequent and flooding isn't more. There's forest fires, wildfires in the Carolinas. That didn't used to be a thing, everybody. It's because weather patterns have changed and things dried out in an extraordinary fashion.
We all gonna die!
That they didn't used to do. You can pretend that's not happening, but it is. And this is where NOAA's service helped us prepare and deal with that. And it certainly informs where to apply whatever limited resources you have to disaster relief.
Okay, so I'm just going to cut out of this because I can't stand this guy. If there's any NOAA here, it's President Trump, because he's building the ark to take us out of this disaster. Okay, let's just make it clear. All right, so President Trump, he's going to, whatever he's doing with NOAA is fine with me. All right, believe me. Whatever this pretend scientist is going to say, maybe I miss the days of what was that guy who was on who was on what was it, Nickelodeon? He had Mr. Science guy is like an old guy, Mr. Wizard. Was it Mr. Wizard? I miss that guy. Man, give me Mr. Wizard.
Talking about our age now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we just dated ourselves big time. Give me Mr. Wizard over the bow tie guy here.
Why wouldn't these guys take accountability, right? You talk about the forest fires in California. You talk about the issues in North Carolina. We have no rapid response, and these environmental decisions have driven us into positions where our population is vulnerable. I mean, we're not giving water to Californians because we want to save the smelt, right? and
what is this? What is a smelt?
Some type of fish.
What do we do with it? What is it for?
I have no clue.
I mean, it looks like bait.
Yeah, Californians might know, but I'm sure that they don't care at this point. But I mean, that's just an example.
Well, hang on, folks. If you're in California, in the comments, drop a comment. What is a smelt good for? I mean, it doesn't look big enough to fillet and cook. It looks like bait. I don't know. You guys drop a comment. Let us know.
Probably is. But the fact of the matter is, their poor decisions have culminated, and here we are today. And we're going to have a situation in Florida and California where we're going to drive homeowners out because they're not going to be able to get home loans, secure home loans, because there's mandated by the federal government levels of insurances they have to protect them from force majeure. And insurance companies are going bankrupt. I mean, California's...
Well, I mean, the insurance companies are pulling out of these states.
Right. Because they can't afford to number one, stay in compliance with the law, but number two, secure the livelihood of people that are paying them for their service.
Unbelievable. All right, moving along. We've got some more to get into in this segment. Let's keep going. We're going to skip ahead here. Oh, check this out. Jeffrey Tucker, one of my favorite men. The Libertarian Republican, the federal budget is the biggest honeypot in the world. $200 trillion, and a lot of people have been scooping up cash, your cash, for almost 100 years with zero scrutiny. This is what DOGE is up against. Oh, goodness. I love it. Okay, here's a guy with a bow tie I can respect. I mean, of course,
like
Tucker.
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah. I mean, Tucker used to wear a bow tie when he was on like MSNBC. But here's a bow tie we can watch.
DOGE just fired given everything, I think DOGE is doing a very good job. One of the things, Natalie, that emerged over the last several weeks is the single most startling thing I've heard in my life, in my career consciousness. After they entered the U.S. Treasury's payment portals, after DOGE entered there was a panicked article in the New York Times written by 5 former secretaries of the Treasury. And what they said in that article is that no elected official or outside appointee has had access to the payment portals of the federal government in 80 years. Okay? Now keep in mind, they were complaining about this. They're saying this is the exclusive preserve, the holiest of holies that's only been accessed by a small team of career civil servants since 1946. It turns out it really goes back all the way to 1939. We've not really had any outside experts or outside appointees in that position. And there's this job called the Fiscal Assistant Secretary of State that has belonged to only 15 people since 1939. And DOGE just fired the existing guy who had been there 35 years and put in somebody from the outside. But even given that, a federal judge has restricted their access, right? So that's sort of where we are. I'm waiting to find out. And, I asked Grok, how much money has been spent by the federal government since 1939? In real terms, it's over $200 trillion. So $200 trillion has come and gone from the federal government without any kind of proper standards of auditing, any elected official really having a clear, verifiable, industry standard way of tracing the money. They already found $4.7 trillion was leaving the Treasury without being properly tagged as to a congressional authorization. This is the scale of what we're dealing with here. And if it makes you wonder, like have dark thoughts about what's really been going on, I think that's probably correct. And
dark thoughts, for sure. In the minds of the Democrats as their money train continues to leave. Gotta love Jeffrey Tucker. We have this, what's this? A TSA officer in Seattle is nearly in tears over having to tell DOGE 5 things that he did last week. Wait, do we seriously have a clip from what is this? Okay, oh boy. What's this?
This is DOGE's way of frustrating people enough to either quit or be fired from their jobs.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Before I go to this, next time I go to the airport, I should ask the TSA, what were the 5 things? What were the 5 things you did this week, right? What were the 5 things? Oh, man.
You'll never get through security.
Oh, man. Well, I'm actually TSA pre-check, so I don't know if they could. Well, I've seen them do some things over there too, but
full inspection.
Oh man, they'll take me in the back room and they'll put the rubber gloves on. Okay, let's play the clip. All right, sorry, let's go.
This is just part of it. It's part of the reduction of government. If you don't comply to what we need, then you're gone.
This TS officer at SeaTac did not want to be identified out of fear of retaliation, but told me local officers are frustrated.
If you're not performing your job properly, then you have your basic sit-down discussions, and then it moves on to the next level and the next step.
They were told last week they weren't actually required to answer an email from the U.S. government's chief HR agency saying this.
I want you to tell me what you did this past week and 5 things that you've accomplished.
But they got that same email this weekend, and another one from their boss's boss, Department of Homeland Security, now requiring them to answer that question for them.
Well, obviously, there's a hiring freeze nationwide. That's also public, and that impacts locally as well. So if you are getting dismissal of people that are not complying to this ridiculous email, you're losing bodies that are going to directly impact your safety and security at an airport.
Wait a second. It's a ridiculous email? Is it really a ridiculous email, JR?
No. I mean, there have been liberal federal employees all over the internet. We had a lady the other day saying that filling out these questions was such pressure. She felt like she was in North Korea. I mean, these folks, look, I have an abundance of employees, and they do weekly reports. If they send me 5 things on their weekly report, we have a problem. There should be much more accomplished in a week than 5 things, right? Yeah. But this is the level of audacity these folks have because they're lazy. They're used to having no accountability.
Yeah.
And, when they're called to the carpet, I mean, this is a simple request. Yeah. A simple request. We're paying their taxes. We deserve to know what the hell they've accomplished.
Yeah. All you got to do is change the cover sheets on the TPS reports and you're good. Yeah. Right?
I bothered Gary. I told Gary Franchi to take off his belt multiple times when coming through the magnetometer, and he did not do that. That's number 1. Right? It's easy. 4 more.
Oh, man. Just as long as I can keep the red stapler, we're good. Okay, so we've got more to get to in the DOGE report for the day. Let's keep going. What's this guy? The entitlement of government workers is actually insane. Let's hang on. Let's see what they got here.
It's the winner.
Have you seen this?
On how some of these federal...
Have you seen this one?
Part of it.
Okay, let's see what this guy's talking about.
I just watched a federal employee complain that the email she had to send last week hindered her and harassed her to the point that she couldn't get anything done this week. You couldn't give me a better example on how some of these federal employees are just wasting tax dollars. I mean, if completing a 2nd grade homework assignment is too stressful, then you don't need to be working for our federal government.
God bless our youth, right?
Wow, they see the writing on the wall. It's right
Some
there.
Do.
Oh my goodness, wow. Oh man, let's keep going. TikTok is good for something. Okay, we got the Vigilant Fox here. This is mind blowing. 7,000 politically connected NGOs are hoarding 90% of taxpayer money. We got the Data Republican. I love this girl. She is on fire. She's deaf, so that's why you see her signing. So let's check in with the Vigilant News and see what they've got to say here.
What's one shocking or underreported piece of data that you have uncovered that more people need to know about?
There is around 7,000 NGOs that collect around 90% of taxpayer finances. We pay around $300 billion in government money for nonprofits. And that is a huge percentage of our federal budget. And it's not directly for the military or health or security. And we just don't have any visibility into that. We have no transparency. We cannot see who takes that money, and it's important that we find out.
Absolutely agree with you. In your view, what's the biggest lie that the American public has been told, and what data do we have that proves it?
So most people believe that there's 2 separate political parties, right? The Democrats and the Republicans, but that is not true. Especially when you see that all of the politicians sit on the same boards of these NGOs. So if the Republicans and the Democrats actually disagree, shouldn't they sit on the same boards? But no, they don't. They share the same board. They share the same money. And they often have names like freedom, peace, democracies, all of that.
So what you're describing really is like a uniparty that is functioning, a uniparty and a shadow government that's functioning through these NGOs and this funnel of money.
Yes, exactly that.
Well, it's a new day in America and a new administration in Washington, D.C. There is a lot of excitement and optimism about the future, but the reality is there is a lot of work to do, especially.
There's a lot of work to do indeed. Let's keep going. We got some more news to get to. What do we have here? Charlemagne got humbled real quick. What's this about?
The head of the FBI.
Yeah, but he's not.
You don't answer to him.
Well,
he's an elected official.
Well, what doesn't matter if you're an elected official or not?
Oh, you're not elected. We don't have to answer to Elon Musk because he's not an elected official. Okay, real quick, JR.
He's appointed by the President of the United States to a position in the executive branch. He has the authority to demand things from federal employees.
Well said.
That's part of the office.
Well said. Let's continue.
Yes, it does.
Kash Patel's not an elected official.
But he's the head of the FBI.
Yeah, but he's not elected.
But he got sworn in by the Senate. Elon did not.
So you're saying that, and again, I could be wrong about this, but you're saying that if the president hires anybody to look into anything, they're not allowed to do it unless the Senate swears them in?
Yes, if you're going to be over how the federal government spends people's money.
No.
But the amount of people that spend our money that are part of the federal government that we have not sworn in is what's caused all this bloat and bureaucratic bullshit that we're dealing with now.
I don't know anything about that. I'm not just saying I do.
Exactly. I mean, there's all these programs.
I do know that's the problem with Elon Musk.
There's all these programs that they're slashing shit right now, right? Again, I don't even know what they're slashing, but there are all these programs that they have said have gotten a lot of bloat. In other words, that there's a lot more people have hired. They've hired for these certain like interest projects, and these interest projects have been potentially completed, and those people haven't moved on to work on anything else. They're just still there getting paid by our money. We didn't hire them. The Senate didn't hire them. Somebody at that company hired them. So I guess what I'm trying to understand is like,
I don't know how that works. I really don't.
I think it works just like any committee.
FDA.
That's why you're on the radio that no one is listening to. Okay, first of all, I want a mustache like that guy. Let's just get in with it. Yeah, Charlemagne the God. I mean, he only reveals his ignorance with every single interview. I mean, he's had some good takes, but this one clearly he revealed himself. What else do we have here? This is San Antonio. 17 hours ago, Texas local news went and investigated the NGO called out by DOGE for receiving $18 million a month for an empty, illegal migrant shelter. This is your local news. You're not going to see this on any national news, but you'll see it on the next news network right here.
$18 million.
Oh.
An empty facility.
Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, has targeted a nonprofit based here in San Antonio, saying its contract for $215 million a year is canceled. News 4 San Antonio I-Team Waste Watch reporter Jay Avila has this story live from the Content Center.
The Waste Watch reporter. I love it. They have their own DOGE reporters now.
Mandy, in a post on X, DOGE said the Department of Health and Human Services had terminated a contract paying Family Endeavors $18 million a month to operate an empty facility in West Texas. The organization is also known as Endeavors, and you may have seen its administrative headquarters and wellness center on De Zavala Road, where it has a cluster of buildings and storefronts. DOGE focused on an overflow.
Wait, did you guys see that? The one storefront was completely like papered over.
Of course.
You know, like it's like, okay, empty storefronts, money going in.
Empty shelter.
Empty shelter. What the heck?
Housing facility for migrant families Endeavors operates in Pecos, Texas, which DOGE says has been sitting empty, while Endeavors has been receiving the $18 million per month. Homeland Security reposted DOGE's X post, tagging U.S. Attorney Ed Martin with the words, "Please investigate," to which Martin responded, "Duly noted, we are on it." I went to Endeavor's San Antonio headquarters today to get a comment from the organization. They responded late this afternoon by email. Endeavors was responsible for maintaining operational readiness at the Pecos shelter, ensuring the ability to scale from cold status, operationally ready but not actively serving children, to...
Oh, wait a second, hang on. JR, they're operationally ready.
Yeah.
They're ready. So they can pull the paper off the windows real quick and they can go into action, right?
What dipshit signed that contract? That guy should be fired.
Oh, my goodness.
$18 million to be ready.
Wow. Wow. Hey, all right, let's keep going. This is local news. I love it.
Full use of 3,000 beds as needed. Decisions regarding facility use and migrant sheltering locations were made by the federal government, not Endeavor's. Any claims of corruption or mismanagement are baseless. DOGE also claims Endeavor's received its HHS contract in 2021 after a former ICE employee and Biden transition team member joined the nonprofit. Endeavor's government disclosure forms show its revenues shot up in 2021 from $50 million to $658 million, reaching a peak of $1.1 billion in 2022.
Elon Musk's Department of Government.
Holy cow, dude. Dude, that's a lot of money.
People need to go to jail for this kind of stuff, man.
Where is all that money? Papered over windows?
If we steal $100 on our taxes, we go to jail. And these people are fleecing to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars.
This is outrageous. Folks, this is the tip of the iceberg. We're just at the beginning of this administration.
I haven't seen anything yet.
So the entrenched bureaucracy is finally being exposed for what it truly is. Not public servants, but parasites draining America's lifeblood while delivering nothing of value. In Seattle, TSA agent was practically in tears when DOGE asked him to list 5 things he did last week. The answer? Yeah, well, we all know. Groping strangers, going through underwear, yelling for no reason, making people remove shoes, and throwing away shampoo. Yeah, they couldn't put that in the email, but, this is not governance. It's legalized theft on an industrial scale. The question is, and this is for you guys in the comments, will Americans finally demand an end to the corrupt system? Or have we become so accustomed to government waste that we've accepted it as normal? Let us know what you think. And show your support for government accountability with our MAGA Avengers collection. That's right, we've got Elon Musk and Ron Paul on a shirt you will not get anywhere else. And of course, the Next News Network hat. You got to wear one and show the world that you stand with the real news.